What's up? It's Chris from Chris Beat Cancer, and today we're on the Cancer Survivor couch at the I Am Holistic Health Conference with my friend Carla Camarillo, who has an amazing healing story that she's going to share with you. And Carla reached out to me on Facebook, and actually you sent me your story through my website too, right?
Right, I did.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know, there is a link on chrisbeatcancer.com where you can share your story. You can submit your story. If you have a healing story, I want to help you share it with the world if you want to share it. And so, yeah, Carla, send me your story and then message me. And so here we are, both at this conference. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's where you live.
This is where I live.
And then let me remember your website too, cancerwarriorclub.com. So she's got her story there and some other resources and stuff.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's tell your story. Breast cancer.
Yes.
When were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in July of last year, 2015.
2015.
Okay. And I was initially diagnosed as stage 2 breast cancer. But I was misdiagnosed, and it turned out that I was stage 4. And
how long did it take to figure that out?
It took about a month.
Okay, so for a month you thought you were stage 2.
Right.
And then, like, what changed? How did you?
Well, they wanted to do chemo. Well, the tumor was very large.
How big?
Close to 6 centimeters.
Okay.
So they said they couldn't do surgery on me, which was good for me because I didn't want it anyway, but they wanted to use chemo to shrink it and then do surgery.
And why did they say they couldn't do surgery?
They said it was too big and that they may end up cutting through the cancer.
Okay.
I think that's
kind of weird sounding to me.
It's kind of weird to me too, but that's what they told me, and they refused to do anything else except they needed to do chemo right away, and they wanted to put a port in me. So I was very scared, and I set up an appointment for that, and I was a no-show. I had a change of heart and thought, I need a second opinion. So then we went over to USC, and again, had to do all the tests over again. All the PET scans and the mammograms and you name it. I had it, right? And they said, we're really sorry, but you have to do it over again because the tests that you took before were inconclusive. And
but not according to the other group of doctors, right?
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, crazy. So they did all this workup again, and then we waited in LA because we don't live there. We had to kind of hang out there for the weekend. And the surgeon called and she said, I'm really sorry, because she wanted me to qualify for a trial. She thought that would be the best thing for me, but she called me up and she says, not only can I not do surgery on you, but you don't qualify for the trial. You have stage 4 cancer. It is spread all over your lungs, your lymph nodes, your sternum. It's very close to your windpipe, so there's not much we can do for you. Good luck.
So the first opinion was stage 2.
Right.
The second opinion was stage 4.
Correct.
And I've said this often. When they say there's nothing we can do for you, that's a blessing in disguise.
Right.
You'd agree?
Yes, absolutely.
So, because, you might have thought differently, but in my mind, when the cancer industry tells a patient, we can treat you, then the patient says yes to treatment. And they get all these treatments, and they may or may not work. A lot of times they don't work. There's a lot of suffering involved, and usually at the end of treatment, they're told, oh, now we can't do anything for you. Right?
Exactly.
Now you're terminal.
Exactly.
But they told you you're terminal in the beginning,
right?
Which means that gave you the freedom to go do whatever you wanted.
Well, although she did suggest that I go to the oncologist and see what they can do for me, because this was a surgeon. So then I go there, and they're like, well, we can definitely, make you live longer by giving you some chemo. And they wanted to do surgery too, but
so they weren't talking about curing you?
No.
They were just saying...
well, they basically said, I said to them, with what you're proposing, what are my chances of survival for, say, 5 years? And he came out and said, about 2%. And I said, I don't think I want to sign up for that. So basically, I just, I didn't take the chemo, but they still were insistent on doing surgery, not on the tumor, but they wanted to go down my windpipe and they wanted to poke around in there just to find out if I had some other type of cancer floating around in there also.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Exploratory surgery.
Right.
Okay. So you were pretty open to that?
No. I said, I don't think so, not for your curiosity's sake. So at that point, I just decided to go ahead. I'd done a lot of research on alternative type treatments, and I had watched the Truth About Cancer. And that led me to different places and resources where I was able to get more and more information. And I had already started a diet, mostly, vegetarian, and a lot of juicing at that time. That's all I knew how to do at that point.
Good start.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and then I did more research, and I found a doctor here in Las Vegas that would give me vitamin C infusions. So I started doing vitamin C treatments. It was still really difficult because I had my family and the doctors constantly calling me, and you have to come over here and do this test, and you have to get chemo, and you can't just not do anything, you're going to die, and that tumor is going to pop right out of your chest.
Scary stuff.
Right?
You probably weren't laughing at the time.
No.
Right?
No, it was very scary, but my gut instinct was, this isn't the way to go. And there's got to be other ways. And I even asked the doctor that. I said, are you sure there isn't anything else like in the whole world that I can do that will help me? And he said, oh, no, we have the best treatment, and there's nothing else out there.
Okay. And so then what else did you do? I know you looked into going to some clinics that you told me earlier, but they just ended up being too expensive, right?
Right. I went down to San Diego actually to meet with one of the doctors down there, and I wanted to really get treatment down there, but it turned out it was going to be about $40,000, and at that point I didn't have the money and the time because I had to keep working. So I just said, well, I'm going to try to collect the money. I opened a GoFundMe account, was not able to collect all the money I needed for that. So
you raised how much?
I raised about $11,000.
Okay, which is great.
It's great.
I mean,
because it helped me
get a lot done with $11,000.
Yes, it helped me to pay for my vitamin C treatments.
Okay.
Which turned out to be the best thing in the long run, right? So
I did vitamin C IV therapy as well, for those of you that don't know that. Yep.
So I kept doing that. I had IV treatments twice a week, supplements. I did the Budwig protocol, and just really stayed positive. Once I think you make up your mind and you say, this is what I'm going to do, it's a big relief. Even if you have people badgering you saying, you can't do that, you can't do that. So I just stuck with it. And
yeah, let me interrupt you. There's
Sure.
a lot of anxiety that comes when you're trying to make a decision.
Right.
Right? I mean, you've got two very different options. You've got the conventional model, and then you've got the holistic model. And there's some crossover. I mean, you can blend both, but a lot of times it doesn't work really well. So usually it's one or the other is what most
Exactly.
people are faced with. And both options are scary, right?
Yes, they
They're
are.
both scary. But as soon as you make a decision,
Right.
it's a relief. Like the
It is.
anxiety is lifted.
Exactly. Because either way, you're risking your life, but you have to look at, if I'm only going to live a few years or a few months, do I really want to live that way? I want quality of life. I want to do it my way.
That's right, like Sinatra.
That's right. So, yeah, absolutely. And it was amazing because in 3 months, I could already see that the tumor, I did some scans, and the tumor had shrunk by a third.
Okay,
Right?
that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything
And this
else.
is without chemo or
Without
radiation.
chemo, radiation,
This is diet
surgery.
change,
Right.
vitamin C, and probably you did some supplementation, I'm
Yes,
sure. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. I did a lot of, there's turmeric, huge.
Yes.
Turmeric. I did a lot of vitamin C in liquid, in your drink form, just to supplement. I have some supplement called Protandim. I use that.
Yep, I'm familiar with that.
And I used right now I'm thinking there was like 20 different things that I was using. Selenium,
D, vitamin D,
vitamin D with
B12,
K2, B12, Dr. Rath.
Yeah, Dr. Rath.
Yeah, I used that. I used LDN.
Low dose naltrexone. Talk about that a little bit.
That is some
So that's a pharmaceutical.
Right, but it's in very low doses. It's very safe, and it's mostly used to wean off of drugs, heavy drugs, right? But when it's in low doses, it doesn't really cause you any harm or any toxicity or anything like that. And they found it to be very beneficial. They don't know exactly how it works, but it has something to do with your endorphins.
Yeah, so Google low dose naltrexone and cancer. You can learn a lot about it.
Absolutely. So I used, but mostly the juicing was really important. The juicing I felt was one of the biggest things that I did.
So it shrank by a third in 2 months, and then what?
In 3 months, and
3
then
months.
and then 6 months later, the tumor, the main tumor, had shrunk in half. And at the 6-month period, I did a PET scan, and the reason I don't like to do any type of radiation, but you have to do it sometimes to show other people what's going on, that you're not just making it up. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah. You want to see if what you're doing is working.
Right.
Totally.
Right.
And it helps to have some proof that what you're doing is working. You know, if people are like, you're making this up. And you're like, no, here are my scans.
There you go.
Right.
This showed, okay, that's 6 months, showed that my tumor shrunk in half, and all the other tumors, all 7 tumors in my lungs, sternum, disappeared.
Gone.
Gone. The doctor could not see any of them.
I'm not surprised. I hear stories like this all the time.
Right?
Right, the little ones usually go away first, right? Your body sort of takes care of the little stuff, the metastasis, and then it starts to focus on the big one.
Right, right. And, you know, I told the doctor, I said, you know, I didn't take those pills you prescribed to me because I found out they were chemo, and I told you I didn't want chemo. But instead, I did vitamin C, and he was like, well, you know that antioxidants cause cancer, right? So I said, sure, I've read something like that. But
There is no study linking vitamin C to cancer. Doesn't exist.
okay.
There are some antioxidant studies. Vitamin A and E were given to cancer patients, and they found that the patients given vitamin A and E did get worse on these isolated antioxidants. Maybe that's true. Like that, it appears that that's true. But there's nothing about vitamin C in the medical literature showing that it is causing cancer or making cancer patients worse.
Right, right. And I had asked him in the beginning, is there any diet that I should follow, or what do you think about, you know, low sugar and this? And he's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you eat.
Doesn't matter what you eat.
But
That's the typical advice. Cancer
Right.
patients all get that. Yep.
right. So when he saw the results, he was pretty much speechless. He congratulated me on losing weight.
That's way more important.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, now 3 months later from that, so we're looking at about maybe 7 months, 8 months that I've been doing my own thing.
Yep.
And I went to have a scan done, and the tumor is 2 centimeters, not even 2 centimeters, but the scan shows that all the cancer is gone. Basically, there's no active cancer in my body, in all of my body.
That's amazing. So the PET scan showed no cancer,
No, nothing.
but there's just a 2 centimeter whatever.
Right,
Could be
right.
scar tissue,
Right.
could be benign.
Well, no, it's because it takes a while for its scar tissue. You know,
Yeah.
it takes a while to go away.
Dead, it could be dead tumor.
Dead tumor, right?
Yeah. So that's amazing.
Right?
I love it. I'm so happy for you. And this is, the total amount of time is 9 months since you started, is that right?
It'll be a year in July, right?
Oh, so 11 months really,
Well,
because we're in June.
but exactly. But this scan was done a couple weeks ago or something.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We'll just call it less than a year.
Less than a year. There you go.
Less than a year. So, I mean, listen, the takeaway here is, you know, you're not going to cure it in 3 weeks. okay, you're not going to cure it in 3 weeks, but the body can heal. It took a long time for her to develop cancer and for me to develop cancer. Years. It takes years for a single cell to multiply enough to become detectable as cancer in the body.
Right.
So it takes a long time for it to form, and it takes a long time to heal, but not nearly as long as it took to get there, right?
Right.
So patience is very important. You got to be
Absolutely.
patient. You've got to be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be dedicated to your protocol.
That's right.
Right? Not make
That's
any
right.
excuses.
No.
No exceptions. Just sticking with the plan. And then the other really important part is measuring your progress. Because you kept an eye on it. And I'm sure that 90-day scan, which, by the way, I see a lot of people get incredible results in 90 days. Some of them, the cancer's gone completely. Others, it's noticeably shrinking, healing, whatever you want to call it. And that was your story, right? So, I mean, that had to be a huge confidence booster when you saw...
Right. All of a sudden, all that fear, oh, is it working? Is it not working? It just goes away.
Yeah, because you know it's working.
Exactly.
But then you just got to stay the course.
That's right.
Still there, just got to keep
That's right.
after it, keep living your life, focus on joy and happiness.
And that's very important. And the better your attitude, the faster you heal.
I agree.
Right?
Absolutely.
And if you do a little yoga here and there, that helps too.
Exercise, fresh air, sunshine, happiness, whole foods from the earth, lots of supplements, and
right.
maybe a few integrative alternative therapies like vitamin C, IVs. Yeah, I mean, your story is perfect. I love it so much. I'm so glad to meet you. So glad we can share this story.
Me too.
And I'm excited because I know you're going to be able to help a lot more people too. So again, people can find you
at cancerwarriorclub.com.
cancerwarriorclub.com. And anything else? Let's just say for somebody that's newly diagnosed, give them the pep talk. What do they need to know?
The most important thing is they need to cut out all the toxic chemicals, including their cleaning supplies, their beauty products, and their food. They need to cut that out right away. That's the priority, I think. Clean up their environment.
Clean up your
Right?
diet and your environment.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So number one. And number two is add all the nutrients that you're missing that are going to help you to heal, to help your immune system to get back up to normal, right? So all the juicing and the vegetables and the supplements. Supplements are important because we can't get enough nutrients out of our food today. As you know, it's very difficult. The soil is contaminated and you're just not getting what you used to.
Yeah, and there are certain herbs in supplement form that you're just not going to get in your normal diet.
Right.
You know, there are just certain supplements that can give you things that you can't get from food. I mean, like supplementing with high-dose turmeric like you did, and high-dose vitamin C. I mean, it's really eating meals.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so that's very important. And then third, you really need to look at some type of treatment that's going to kill the cancer, some type of alternative treatment, whether it be B17 or vitamin C or the Budwig protocol or whatever you want to use. There's so many. There's hundreds of different things you can do. You just have to look into it and see which one's right for you. Right?
Yeah.
And I was bombarded with all different ones, but I decided you need to make it simple and see what works. And if that doesn't work, try something else.
Keep it simple.
Right.
Monitor your progress. If it doesn't work, try something else. Perfect advice.
Right. And on my website, if you join my newsletter, you get a fast start checklist.
Good.
So you have line by line. Okay, do this first, I do this second. So,
Perfect.
Because I wish I would have had that. I didn't have anyone to give me any information. So.
That's great. I'm glad you put that together.
Except for you when I found you.
Okay, well, thank you, Carla.
Well, thank you.
High five. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please share this video, post it on social media, like it, share it, whatever. Help us spread the word. Cancer can be healed. Just another awesome success story. By the way, there are over 50 interviews like this on Chris Beat Cancer YouTube channel, on chrisbeatcancer.com. So again, if you're looking for this information, if you're looking for real hope and inspiration, it's out there. I'm just trying to bring it to you. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.